We are live everywhere. This is awesome. All right. Happy Monday. It is the end of February 2023. And today I want to talk about, I've had this kind of on me for a while as I've been coaching my clients and really getting clear about expectations, agreements, not just with ourselves, but also with other people. As we relate to other people, this could be spouses, this could be our children, this could be anywhere in life. There's going to be two choices that we get to choose. So the two choices that we get to choose in life that involves us engaging or relating to our fellow human beings is to, first and foremost, go by default, which is what most of us are programmed for, is the default of expectations. And I don't recommend this, even if the expectations are spoken, but even the unspoken expectations, those are the ones that are, they don't feel good. They don't feel good for the person who has the unspoken expectations, and they don't feel good for the person who the expectations are being put upon, right? So expectations are very toxic. They ruin people's chances at having a good relationship. Leaders who have expectations tend to have these in areas of job performance, all different types of things, quotas. They're spoken, and then there's the unspoken, right? Nobody ever really likes the feeling of having expectations put upon them, especially if they didn't design them, right? And that's really going to be that little fine line that really separates the expectations from the agreements. So when you think about expectations, families too have unspoken expectations. You know, as a mother of two little girls, it's the unspoken ones that can cause like the ripples and the rifts between me and my daughters, right? But when we can agree and create together, that eliminates all of that. So a lot of this is built up through old paradigms, limiting beliefs of how things should be or could be. And it's our job and responsibility to respond differently and step out of these old paradigms, break through, and step into what is possible with agreements. People themselves try to even live up to expectations. You know, New Year's resolutions, for example. So many people have already failed at sticking and committing to their New Year's resolution because of expectations they put upon themselves that were just super unattainable. Now, I like irrational, I like unreasonable, because those are the areas that allow us to expand. But again, it's the pressure of the expectations. I highly support all areas that include having intention. Like if you're going something super irrational or unreasonable, that like your family and friends are like, oh, don't do that, it's too risky, but you have clear intention by design, and you have a mentor or a coach walking you through that path because they've done it, you've seen other people do it, and now you desire that experience too, then go be unreasonable, go be irrational, especially if it's in alignment and what you believe to be true, and it's not hurting anybody else or yourself, right? So getting back into the part where you think about the times you've had expectations and they weren't met. Think about the times you've let yourself down, and think about how you felt when people put expectations upon you. People do not like to live up to expectations. People actually rebel against expectations. They don't like that you expect something from them. Just like I don't like when someone expects something from me, especially when it's unspoken. This happened to me early on in my relationship with my husband, and I loved to do all the things for him, right? And then all of a sudden I had this resistance. I didn't want to do the dishes all the time. I didn't want to cook all the time. I didn't want to make sure his laundry was put away all the time. I didn't like that expectation, and he never really expected it, but I just did it. And people get used to the patterns of habitual, familiar ways of living, right? So there became a point where it's like, okay, I married a partner that I could share and agree to the adulting roles, right? Having the roles and responsibilities of being an adult, a respectable, thriving, successful adult. So at the same time, it's not fair to stop doing certain things in a relationship. And this can be romantic. This could be with your children, your parents, your neighbors, your friends, coworkers, clients. When you stop doing the things that someone else is expected without having that conversation around creating an agreement that this is how I would like the things to move forward. How would you like to move forward, right? I believe this will save so many relationships, not just marriages, but so many relationships, beyond the romantic, but into family relationships, business relationships, and partnerships, and so on. So it's a really simple tip alone. And this is why, instead of setting expectations or setting yourself up for failure, right, I highly recommend creating an agreement. And I pulled a lot of this from actually, a lot of this has happened and evolved through my practice. So through the practice of teaching agreement versus expectation, I've pulled these pieces out of my clients' relationships, my friendships, my family relationships. But it was first introduced to me by Steve Chandler, who is an amazing coach. And when he kind of mimicked that, it was a reminder. It was like, yeah, of course, this is the way it should be. So instead of creating expectations, let's co-create agreements. Co-create and designing agreements to live life by design versus living life by default of old patterns and behaviors that aren't getting us to where we want to get to anyways. Your next level of success in any area of your life, whether it's adventure, love, connection, relationship, money, your business, your career, selling a business, starting a new business, all of it goes back to where are you growing and evolving? And the same person that got this level of success, you're definitely going to be required to be another different type of level of success, which is going to require a different version of you. There's going to be parts of you that have allowed you to achieve so much success thus far that's not going to work for the next level of success. And this is where, when I come across my clients, they're like, I've tried this and I've tried this. It's worked up until now, and now it's not working anymore. Great. So let's see what's possible. Great. We know what doesn't work, right? We know what works for the level that you're at, but if you're not happy at that level and you desire more, let's break through that. Let's come up with an agreement instead of an expectation. So you do not need to agree with everyone. So don't confuse that with agree, becoming this people-pleasing person. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm also recovering type A. That part of me got me to where I am and continue to support me at different levels of success. But it's starting to look at the solution and having a mutual agreement created together with whoever or however many parties are involved. Live from that agreement. The key to living by design versus living by default. This is true freedom. This is true freedom in all the ways. Freedom from dis-ease, freedom from the time restraints, the false ones we put on ourselves, freedom from any limiting money beliefs or limiting reality money pieces or paradigms we've placed into our own lives. When you have that experience of true freedom, you can watch how you gain time back, you gain abundance back in health and love and connection and financials in all the ways. So expectations, if you think about it, we react with expectation. They're fear-based. We open the door to blaming and shaming. These are pieces that are not a great idea. And not just blaming and shaming others, but blaming ourselves. Not a good place to be. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Look at all the relationships and the titles that you wear and the roles that you play in your life day to day. The ones that have 0 to very low expectations are the easiest and the fun relationships. My best friend, there's no expectations. I can show up as Coach Jackie. I can show up as Mom Jackie. I can show up as Friend Jackie. There's no expectations with a lot of my really close girlfriends. So the expectation parts are very reactive, and it's our responsibility in how we respond. And if we come from the state of agreements, it is so much more easier. There's more flow, there's more freedom, there's more ease, and it's intentional and you're clear. So as soon as that pressure of expectations has been decided, we can release it. We've got to be aware of it, right? We have to be clear on what that even is from both sides. Because again, there's a lot of unspoken expectations that get put upon other people, and then other people are let down, but nobody says that I felt let down. And then there's this like resistance and this like constrictive feeling in that relationship. So we create partnerships, friendships, romantic, business, only from agreements. It's the fundamentals that establish with a do we agree to do this? Do you agree to do and create this? And I agree to do and create this. Great co-creation. It's freeing. Or don't forget, we might agree to not to do something. You're agreeing not to do this anymore. I'm agreeing not to do this anymore. For example, I agree not to put expectations on you and have better agreement conversations. How freeing does that feel? How freeing does it feel to release the expectations that others are putting on you because you decided to have a conversation about it and to agree? Because when that foundation of an agreement, it creates structure, and the expectations don't leave the chance to fall into place of assuming. And I go back to the book, The 4 Agreements, because they're truly the 4 values I live by every day. The first one is to honor your word. The second one is to be your best. The third one is to take nothing personally. And the fourth is to make no assumptions. When you have rock solid agreements, it leaves no room to make assumptions. Now, can we adjust, adapt, change, and pivot agreements? Absolutely. Especially as you evolve and expand into this highest version of you, your desires and dreams and wants are going to expand and grow too. That's the one thing that's guaranteed in life is change. Nothing stays the same. And when it does, it digresses and it starts to die. So agreements are that creative piece where we get to design life together in cooperation. It's freeing, it's fun to create and live by design versus default reaction. This is just the way that it is, or it's going to be. So when one has expectations, this is the part it's going to trigger. And if you look back to expectations that were put on you or you put on other people, it will trigger anxiety, disappointments, a sense of betrayal, even if the expectations are met or eventually met. That leads to boredom. It's like, well, I expected that. So what? Ugh, doesn't feel good. Does not feel good. Plus, agreements are super contagious. It takes courage and trust to create an agreement with other. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust the other person that the agreement is going to be taken care of. Because at the end of the day, when you're clear, and this is the bonus to making agreements, but when you have clarity and you have courage and you take aligned action, boom, it breeds more confidence. It can't help but breed more confidence. Carrying that confidence into your next level of agreements is what will continue to allow you to expand and grow more into what you desire more of, which most of my clients desire more money and time freedom and more living out their true potential without having to working so hard at it. And it's freedom in all the ways of life, in dis-ease, in a relationship, in love and connection, real ultimate true freedoms. So most people and leaders will walk around with expectations not being met, or they're being coached by someone because the problems that have created because of the expectations. And if they simply would have put agreements in on play first versus the expectations, a lot of that challenge could have been eliminated. Now, the challenge is not the problem. We grow from challenges. They're great to have. It's opportunity, but it's the ones that we could have prevented. Like, let's have bigger growth and the bigger challenges and not these little nuances of expectations and assumptions. That's where we want to pivot and really look at this at a deeper level. Because as a human being, we love to keep our agreements with ourselves. We love to keep an agreement and co-author and sit down and write them out and allow each other to ask each other help from time to time. What do you want to make a promise to do? What are the wonderful things that will happen? Because you can find out in advance and you're certain that it will occur because you know what you're responsible for, because you created your responsibility. You created your part of the agreement. And then you're excited to fulfill that. So all of this that I just said, go back and listen to it again until it anchors in and it causes a feeling. Because if not, you're going to continue to live by default. You're going to continue to know what you know, But that knowledge doesn't become power until you take aligned action on it. What are some things you can do today? What are some conversations that need to be had? And you start with yourself. What expectations have you put upon yourself? Forgive, release the blame and shame. What conversations do you need to have with loved ones, with business partners, with colleagues, with clients, with children, with parents, with neighbors, with friends? Come up with new agreements that light you up so when you wake up, you can't wait to take on your day. You get to do this. You don't have to. You don't need to, but you get to do this. If you desire to live a more free, more expansive life, if you desire to live next level success, if you desire to live out your fullest potential while you are still here on this earth. So I'll leave this for you for today. Until next time, I'll send you with so much love. Bye for now.